Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we sit down with small cap CEOs to discuss important news at their companies. With us today, happy to have him back, Scott Burton, CEO of FansUnite Entertainment. The company trades on the CSE under the stock symbol FANS, FANS, and for our friends in the US under FUNFF. For those who are new to the story, that's going to be a lot of you. First things first, the global online game market is scheduled to be potentially $1 trillion business by the end of this decade. However, a lot of small cap investors just haven't had the opportunity to participate in that because primarily it's dominated by, all the industry giants. FansUnite provides that opportunity now. And that growth is coming from, multiple factors. But first of all, just the growth in the number of people online, the growth in the amount of time people spending online. You've also got the number of countries and jurisdictions, I think, is the big one, that are starting to legalize gambling because they all want that tax revenue. FansUnite, what I really love about the companies, they're not just a one-trick pony. They've got both a B2B side in which they provide their gambling technology to other companies. They've also got their B2C side, in which, their gambling platforms go directly to gamblers. And that's resulted in over hundreds of millions of dollars of bets on their platform, hundreds of thousands of registered users. They've integrated with over a platform with over 6,000 casino games, on and on, just fantastic and success. And now the headline today, FansUnite Entertainment betting platform achieves record month. That's for October 2020, 433% increase in revenue, 713% increase in gross margin. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thanks, George. Good to be here.
Big month, $7.3 million in total betting volume, 433% increase in revenue. Before we get into the numbers, how big of a milestone is this? How do you and how should your shareholders be feeling right now?
We feel great, and I think our shareholders should be very excited about the future of this, in particular, McBookie asset that we have. It was a big part of the companies coming together when FansUnite and Ascot merged back in August. Looking at the potential of McBookie, I think we're just scratching the surface of what McBookie can do. Just to put in perspective, this is a record month in their 10-year history. So this sportsbook's been around a long time. It's got two very, very good operators behind it, Paul and Damien. They were just at a point where they needed, a surrounding group and a team to start hitting these types of numbers that they should be hitting all the time. So for us to do it at this period of times during a pandemic, only a few months into the merge of the entities, we feel like we've barely gotten started tapping the potential of McBookie. So, I think everyone should be really excited. We got to think there's a time here where sports wasn't fully active for a lot of the last quarter, where McBookie was hitting record weeks and months. So, it's a great time. Very happy about the announcements, and really looking forward to showing everyone what we're able to do with this asset, and then looking for other ones like it that we can now leverage our team, our technology, our infrastructure, and repeat this in the way we did with McBookie.
You mentioned earlier, I like the fact that you mentioned that this merger only took place a few months ago, back in August, actually. Yeah. Seems like it was, with everything going on in the world, seemed like it was a year ago, but it really was like 3-4 months ago. Internally speaking, $7.3 million in total betting volume. Does that come in as expected for you guys with your own internal kind of numbers, or is that ahead of schedule? And if it is, what do you attribute these numbers to?
Yeah, so it's getting in line with where I think we all believed McBookies should be and we're going to aim to be at. So it's getting in line with numbers that we had talked about for next year. So it's a bit ahead of schedule because, we had a lot of things we plan to implement with McBookie, really to grow that site in terms of like adding casino, adding live dealer, adding virtuals. building some scalable products around the technology they currently have, so there's more automation. So we're just getting started there. So we're definitely ahead of where I thought we would be in terms of hitting these types of numbers. So that's great news and a very good sign of, I think, what's to come with McBookie. There's a few things that were key to these numbers, and for those that don't know, if they haven't figured out by the name, McBookie is is kind of a regionally targeted brand on the Scottish market. So it's a UK sports book, so operating in one of the toughest markets in the world to be an online sports betting operator. So they're in a tough market, but they have really captured this, Scottish niche. It's not to say they don't get users from all over the UK, but really Scotland is a big part of their brand and marketing. Scotland sports had a great month. The Scottish national team has progressed in the European Championships. You had the Celtic Rangers game for the Scottish Premiership. So, the biggest football match in Scotland every year is the Old Firm. So you had a couple of those things come together, which is great. But I think what's really positive is the growth on the casino side. Sports, it was a great sports betting month, but it was an even better month for casino. And this is an area that,
the casino, I want to just chime in there for a second, is casino. We all think we know what it is online, but you guys introduced live betting. If you could talk a little bit about that, because I think that's a fantastic concept.
Yeah, so on the casino, they introduced live dealers. So this is where when you go on there, it's like you're sitting in a real room, feels like it. So there's a real live dealer in front of you dealing cards. So you're either playing, live blackjack, baccarat, whatever. So live dealer is really picking up, and that was something that was just introduced during the pandemic. So seeing the growth of that already, and virtuals was the other one that was added during the last few months. So this is where you're betting on virtual horse races, virtual soccer games, virtual greyhounds, anything like that. So these are areas of the business that weren't really part of the core McBookie offering, but are growing extremely fast and then now contributing a significant amount of the revenue to them. So again, it's an area where I think we're just getting started, tons of growth there. So the whole site in general is just ready to I think explode now that we've brought FansUnite, Ascot, and McBookie kind of all together.
Scott, do you guys think that you're part of the new kind of iGaming leadership? Because we know that, look, I'm 52 years old, so I kind of grew up on, not that I'm an online gambler, but sometimes I go to the free sites just to have some fun. But there's some cards and poker, and there's some roulette. You hit a button and it spins. But it seems like that world is changing, much more interactive, much more gaming feel, a fresher, cooler feel to it. Do you think you guys are part of the new leadership group because the incumbents maybe are slower to react to that, and you guys just newer, more nimble and cooler?
Yeah, and it's I guess it's a function of sort of when we're born and what we've kind of built and grown up with, and so the incumbents are doing very well and they make a lot of money, and those are big boats to try and turn around. So we do have that benefit of building our technology and infrastructure over the last 5-6 years, and really being part of the growth of this, really the truly first generation that's grown up online. So their expectations, their demands, their requirements of an entertainment product are very different from what people who are already online casinos are used to. So what is entertainment for people in the maybe 50 bracket and above, in terms of what they get from an online casino, is very different from what a younger generation of 18 to 30-year-olds are used to when they're online. And if you can't keep them or grab them immediately, they're not going to play. So the old days of placing a traditional sports bet on a Wednesday and you come back on Sunday to see how you did.
That's me.
Yeah, so
don't make fun of me, but yeah, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. I put $20 in the game. I wait till Sunday.
Yeah, and it's not a great bet these days. The Cowboys.
Easy. Easy. I got power of the mute button, right? I can mute you right now.
Yeah. No, they're having a tough time, but yeah, I mean, it's a real. I think it's a real benefit of our platform. It's what people are recognizing. We're doing that at every level, so it goes not just from the way we're trying to interact with people on our live in-play esports betting, so stream betting, where you can sit on our site for 2 hours and watch a full esports match and be placing bets every 20, 30 seconds if you want. So that goes for, from the betting side, but then we move into the Ask Game side, which is where we're building our, what people would consider more casino style games. But again, we have to make them far more interactive, far more engaging, better themes, cooler graphics, better sound, all of those things. So that's really exciting for us because the feedback and the interest we're getting in the very early days of that has been outstanding. So very excited for that part of the business going forward next year. I think that could be a big part of our growth story next year. We're already getting some good news. We announced 2 weeks ago, I think it was, our first casino game aggregator deal. So we've got the EAR platform has agreed to take our games into their platform and distribute to their 120 plus online casinos and sports books they're integrated with, gets us potentially in front of millions of users. We hope to have 10 games out next year into 5+ aggregators. So the ability to scale that business and growth is huge, because just with one aggregator, we've now got potentially 120 partners we can plug into. So yeah, there's lots on the go, but really everything we do is about what's the next generation of gamer, casino player, better need, and what's going to entertain them, because online you're competing with a lot of other things.
And for everyone at home, if in case you're wondering, what's great about Fans is that they've got two sides of the business. They've got the B2C, which is what we were talking about at the beginning, McBookie. I'm in the UK. I can go on there, place bets on the national team and all that. That's me. But what the company's always also doing on the B2B side is they're creating, as you just heard Scott say, they're creating new games, they're creating all sorts of new experiences. But rather than them having to do the distribution, which means that they have to go and try and find George, spend money targeting George, acquiring him as a customer, and that becomes a really expensive proposition. Instead, it's a B2B situation where they're offering it to platforms that have, like this one here, 120 online casinos as their customers. So the distribution is done at a very, very low cost. And I love that about your business model, Scott.
Yeah.
Last question for you. I started off in my intro talking about the fact that more and more jurisdictions are legalizing gambling. In fact, I think in this latest U.S. election, I read somewhere, and I could be wrong, that 5 more states were legalizing sports betting, online sports betting, and things like that. Canada, there are some potential changes coming to Canadian law on the legalization of, I'm going to read this, single event sports betting. What is single event sports betting? Because I would have thought the Dallas Cowboys game is a single event sports game. So what is that? But more importantly, what could that mean to the company?
Yeah, so you're right. Betting on the Dallas Cowboys is a single event sports game, and that's something you can't do in Canada legally at the moment on a government site. So betting in online gaming, iGaming in Canada is run by the government, and then it's sent down to the provincial level for the provincial lottery corporations to operate and regulate. And so there's part of the criminal code is this single event betting that's been there, which doesn't allow that in Canada. So if you're on a proper lottery site in Canada and want to bet on a sporting game or event, you have to do what people would call a parlay or a multiple.
Right.
You need tie that bet with another bet on sports. So the Cowboys are going to win and the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to win. So it's definitely a disadvantage for the bettor. Increases the margins for a sports book, because as soon as a user you have to predict more than one outcome, your chances go down. There's many reasons they had for having that in effect. But really what's happening is the majority of sports betting in Canada is done on offshore sites and gray markets. So there's billions of dollars a year being bet on these sites, really because it's not an option in Canada on a government site.
Right.
I can't say maybe it'll all come back, but a huge portion of that will likely come back if the provinces, one, can not only offer that, but two, then do better on player user interfaces, user experiences. So that's leads to the Ontario announcement that's potentially coming up. I think their budget is today. And what they're talking about doing is opening up Ontario to operators outside of government lottery corporations.
So would I be able to place bets on the Dallas Cowboys by going to one of your specific sites, or would I still be going through a government site, but they would direct me, or they would integrate your software? How would that change?
So we can go both ways there. So one of the reasons, as a company, we've never taken bets or offered bets in Canada is because we would like to potentially license our software into some of these provincial operators, or be welcomed into the provinces that do open it up to non-government groups. So in Ontario, for example, if it does change, then it would mean that you could go on sites that aren't run by the government. They will have to go through the same regulations and get past all that. And we don't know what those rules and regulations will look like necessarily yet. So that's to be seen. But as a user, really what Ontario is trying to do is recapture a lot of that money, but also give consumer choice. There's people who say that the government's a good regulator, maybe not a good operator. And they haven't done the best job of giving the consumers what they really want. And that's why there's so much goes offshore. So there's motivation, I guess, for the provinces to do better in terms of product. But here it does open it up for outside operators to come in, still get licensed. And one of the things we've heard is that Ontario will be looking to sign memorandums of understanding, or MOUs, with jurisdictions that are considered tier 1. We're about to get 2 Malta licenses, and that would be a jurisdiction that would potentially have an MOU with Ontario. So that would take a company like ours now that's sitting in Canada, where we've heard we'll also get some, not necessarily a lot of preference, but there is some motivation to give contracts to Canadian companies. So we'll be sitting here in Canada now. We can offer products either through a license we obtain, or partnering with a group that would allow people to bet just on the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and I was going to ask that question because it would make sense that if the country is trying to recapture vital gambling tax revenue that's never had, because as you said, billions are going offshore, it makes sense to provide it in Canada so they can tax that action. But why wouldn't they also give it to a Canadian company? Because more revenue going into companies like FansUnite, more tax revenue coming into Canada. I mean, it would just make sense that they'd want to have both. It wouldn't make sense to partner with George's gambling company out of Greece, where all that revenue flows there and all that tax revenue flows there. So what could that mean to you guys? How many Canadian companies are there, ballpark that you'd be competing against? So at your level, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of little tiny guys, but like your level, tier 1 level of quality.
Yeah, in terms of having a software platform ready to go that's integrated with casino already, that's integrated with sports books, that does the geolocation, the age identity location verification, holds multiple licenses. I can't think of really any in our size in Canada right now. Wow.
All right. So fair to say that you guys are somehow aggressively making contact, lobbying, sending inquiries, making phone calls, the whole nine.
Yeah, we've been fortunate to have good relationships with a number of the provinces over the last number of years. So as they were looking to get more innovative in a number of the jurisdictions, esports has been one of the areas that they've looked at closely. And again, being in our unique position of being a Canadian-based iGaming company in the esports space, we got a lot of calls, meetings. So we've got good relations there. The Canadian Gaming Association is really good. We've been on panels with them before. So I think we're well positioned for these Canadian opportunities to open up. It does rely on changes at the federal level, at government levels, provincial. So that's to be seen. But I don't doubt that Ontario will be the leader in the space, and that the other provinces, dominoes will fall as you see one province set up a regulatory framework that works. I think, we will see other provinces follow, much like the US. So I don't think we can sit this close to the US and watch what's going on there state by state. And again, the revenue numbers and the taxes and ignore that. So yeah, I think it's great for us.
Especially in the year of COVID, where both federal government and all provinces have gone into massive deficit. Yeah. You can't just tax that money back. You're going to end up killing the economy. You've got to find alternative means of taxation. And this would seem to be, all bias aside, would seem to be the easiest and fastest way to get a really big chunk of revenue. Any ETA? I know you don't listen, legislation's not up to you, but have you heard any ETA for when they may start coming to a federal decision? Are we weeks away, months away, a year away? What are you hearing?
Yeah, I mean, we'd heard it many times. It's been sort of so Bill C-218 is the bill in front of, I guess, the federal government. So that's already the debates have started on that. I mean, it's been talked about for a long time. It's kind of been kicked down the road a few times. I think there's a lot of incentivization now to get it moved. So I'm in the optimistic camp of we're months and no longer years. So I would think we'll start seeing movement. And this is just my personal thoughts of following and reading for the last years. 2021, we'll start to see movement there. I think Ontario, I haven't seen what their budget looked like today, but there's an expectation that they will make an announcement on the opening up the province. So that one should be coming soon as well. And then we will be, in conversations and finding out what that means for a company like ours, and how we're going to participate and clear any of the regulatory hurdles, as quick as we can. Like I said, we've got the benefit of being a company that's been through multiple licensing regimes in Isle of Man and Malta. So tier 1 regimes that have gone through, tested our software, seen our products, and we've obtained licenses. So we know we meet those requirements, and we know that Canadian governments will be looking to markets like that have been doing it for decades to take some guidance around what the regulations are going to look like.
Scott, congratulations, man. Congratulations on a record monthly number out of McBookie. Every time we talk, half the time I'm finding my mind spinning as I'm talking to you, because you keep presenting these growth, scenarios where it seems almost unstoppable. I know it's not guaranteed, and there's still execution, but congratulations what you guys have achieved so far, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Look forward to the next one.
You've been watching Scott Burton, or if you've been listening by podcast, he's CEO of FansUnite Entertainment, trades on the CSE under the stock symbol FANS, Fans, fantastic stock symbol. And for our friends in the US, under FUNFF. You've heard, you've watched what Scott had to say. Now you got to go do some more due diligence. We know there's a lot of information here for you to absorb. So get to the FansUnite hub on Agoracom. Go to the profile section. We've got everything really neatly laid out for you to get a great understanding of what this company does. Get over their website, do some more due diligence, and then, take advantage of Agoracom, ask any questions you might have, and hopefully you've discovered your next great small cap company. Thanks for joining us. Have a fantastic day. See you next time.